Hello, this is Ashee from Crafting with Ashee and welcome to this video. Thank you for joining me today. I have this box tutorial to share with you, and it's a box with a viewing window or see-through lid, as you can see, and you just got a little frame here on the top, and this is a 3" by 3" size box. That's a good size box. And here we've got blueberry bushel on the top and balmy blue cardstock on the bottom, and the paper is the Meandering Meadows Designer Series paper. This ribbon is now retired, but I didn't have another ribbon in my stash to use, so I've used this, but there's plenty of gorgeous ribbon in my online shop that you can peruse, and you'll find the link to that in the description box below. So let me show you how to make a box like this. We have here a piece of, this was blueberry bushel and balmy blue. This time we're going to use Highland heather and gorgeous grapes. So we're going to be using variations in purple. So this piece measures 7 inches by 7 inches. And now on your scoring tool you'll find that there's usually a fatter end and a thin end. You need to use the thinner end for cardstock. So we are going to score at 2 inches on all sides. So just pull it down like you're pulling a pencil down. Find the channel, be confident and pull down. Okay, so that's our base. Now for our lid. Our lid measures 5 1/16 by 5 1/16, and we're going to score at 1 inch on all sides. The same as before, 1 inch on all sides. Really easy to do. There we go. And that is all of our scoring, so we can get rid of the scoring tool now. And now we're going to fold on all of our score lines. So this is our base. This is when a good bone folder is invaluable. It really helps you to get a crisp fold. It makes life a lot more easy. Well, it makes life easier, I should say. Okay, so we folded on all of those score lines. There's only 4 on each one. Okay, so we're going to work on our lid now. So we want to make this see-through little panel in the center. So to do this, I used the stylish shaped dies. You can use any die you wish, and I just used these nice square dies. And I measured one that I thought was going to work. I think it was this one here. And all I'm going to do is hold this in place with some low tack tape. In this case I'm using post-it note tape, and I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine. And then I've cut out a piece here of the, what do you call this, perennial lavender, that's the name of the paper, Designer Series paper, and I'm going to cut it out as well using this. So I'm actually going to just do 2 together. You can do this when you're doing it with paper. So I'm going to stick this down, and I'm wondering which pattern I want for the top and which I want for the base. I think I'm going to use this pattern for the top, and then for the base, yeah, I'll use the other pattern I think for the base. It's going to look better. Yeah, you could use the same for all of them if you want, but I'm going to sort of switch it up. Okay, so enough faffing about. Let's stick this down with some glue. I'm going to make sure I get the glue specifically around the edge, because this is the bit that's going to really need to be stuck down. I'm going to put that there. Okay. And then we're just going to fold in our, put in our designer's frame, our die, and we're going to stick that with some low tack tape, and we're going to run this through the Big Shot. You might need to run it a couple of times to get it to cut, but it will cut through. Okay, so here we go. We're going to just check that everything worked, and it did. It cut out beautifully, and we can save that piece for another day. I always save my post-it note tape as well. So let me put my dies back before any of them float away. I store my dies on a magnetic sheet. Okay, so now we've got our piece in. I'm just checking that my frame is still nicely stuck down, and it is. So I'm going to turn it to the back now, and I've cut out a piece of window sheet that's slightly smaller, just a smidgen smaller than 3 inches by 3 inches. And I'm going to put around the side here actually some tear and tape, because I find it fits perfectly, and I don't want to use liquid adhesive because I feel it could easily smooch out. So I'm just going to go around carefully with my tear and tape. And then we can see. So now all the measurements and the supply list for this project, you can find that in the description box below. And you can also find the link to my website. So do hop on and have a look. I'd much appreciate it. Okay, give that a bit of a press down. I think I've got glue somewhere where it shouldn't be, but anyway, it will dry. And it dries clear. Okay, so now we're taking the backings off our tear and tape. Now we find a piece of acetate. Just be careful when you're working with window sheet acetate. It will have sharp edges and you don't want to cut yourself. So just be a little careful. Okay, and there we go. We've got our lovely window. So let's start to build. Well, actually, let's stick down some more of our paper before we build anything. So I have here some more of this beautiful pattern paper. This is, as I said, the perennial lavender. I'm using the same sheet, just one side for the base and the other side for the lid. And I'm just going to stick everything down before I start to build the box, because it's much easier. I'm just making sure I keep everything, if there's an orientation, in the right orientation. Okay, so you can tell me in the comments below which of these colours you prefer, this box or the previous one I showed you. And this is a good time to also say, if you're enjoying this video, I'd be grateful if you could give it a thumbs up so YouTube know. It really helps my content become more visible. And please do consider subscribing. Okay, so this is going to be our base. It's going to fold in like this, so we can start to put down our designer series paper on this one as well. And here you can see I'm using the other side. I'm just going to put this down, and I'm so grateful that this paper also carried over along with the stamp set from the mini catalogue into the main catalogue, but it is so pretty, and I'm happy I can get to use it for a whole another year. Obviously you can use it once it's retired, it doesn't mean you can't, but I always like to show current product on my YouTube channel, because I don't like to show stuff people can't find or use. So let's go. Last but not least, there's that one there. Okay, so now we're ready to do some cutting. Now at the moment all four sides look the same, so it doesn't matter where you start. You're going to cut along the score line up to the score line, just like that, and then you're going to miter these edges, so you're just going to give them a slight cut at an angle like that, and then you're going to chop off a little bit, about a third. And you're going to do the same on the other side here, so along the score line up to the score line, take a little bit out at an angle like that, and then take that out. and then you're going to flip it 180 degrees to the other side and do exactly the same thing. So we're going to do exactly the same thing. Well, we're not going to do exactly the same thing for our lid. I'll show you that in a minute. Instead of rushing ahead, I'll let you catch up. Okay, so you should have a base that looks like that now. Okay, set that aside for a second and let's work on our lid. So we're going to initially do the same thing up to the score line, along the score line, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut off at an angle, but we're not going to cut off any of this, so we're not going to trim that down by a third. We're going to leave it whole because it's small enough as it is. The reason we did that on the base is because if we didn't, each tab was 2 inches. So in the centre and the size of the box is 3 inches. So 2 inches and 2 inches, they were going to overlap, and so I didn't want that to happen, because that would give you extra bulk you didn't want. That's why we cut down by a third. So that is now our lid all done. Are we ready to start to assemble our box, our lid? So we're going to put a bit of Tombow. You can use tear and tape or Tombow. I wouldn't, or Seal Plus. I wouldn't recommend just using normal seal. You need something that's has a bit of welly, a bit strong to do this. So let's do that. And then you're just going to take your flap, fold it under to meet the base of the wall like that, and bring these 2 corners to meet. And you want to make sure these corners are nicely squared off and pinch to get that glue to set. So you're going to tuck that underneath there, bring these 2 corners together, nicely squared off and pinch. And you're just going to continue to do that round your box. Okay, and just always making sure everything is nicely squared off. So that is your lid done. Let's work on our base. Same idea as with the lid. Get the Tombow working. Okay. And I'm going to do exactly the same. Pull this in, get these 2 pieces together, and get this squared off, and just work around your box. Okay, tuck it in. Make sure it looks nicely squared off as best as you can. And there we have our base, and if everything is worked out, our lid should fit on fine, which it does. There we go. So we're just going to set all of that aside for a second to dry, and we're going to do some stamping. Okay, so we're going to have a piece of basic white scrap. I'm going to stamp in gorgeous grey pink, and I'm going to use the flower card stamp set. Have a lovely day. Now, full disclosure, I'm going to be using some punches to punch this out, but you can just as easily use those circles from the stylish shaped dies. It's just as much easier for me to use a punch. Find it much quicker. So just give that a clean so I don't put anything into it, and set all of that aside. And I'm going to use my smallest punch here, which I've got, which is the 1.5 inch punch, to punch out my sentiment. Have a lovely day. And then I'm going to use a 1 3/4 inch punch punch out a piece of gorgeous grape. And I'm going to stick one to the other. Just like that. And then I'm going to use my pokey tool to make a hole in the top here for some linen thread. So bring back my box, and for this box I'm going to use some of this gingham, black and white gingham ribbon. Now this is also retired, but there's plenty of pretty ribbon in my online shop, and you can find the link to that in the description box below. It's just that I'm making this video before the new catalogue goes live, and so I don't have haven't ordered yet all of my stuff, so I'm using what I've got. So we're gonna just do this, and then we're going to just do a very simple bow if we can. That will do. Enough as good as a feast. And let's just cut these tails. That will do. And then just going to roll this up again, and you can see I notch here in the top of my ribbon in the card, and then I can just put my ribbon in there and it keeps it from unwinding. So that's a top tip for you. Now I'm going to just take some linen thread, that will be plenty, and set all of that aside. And I'm going to just thread this through here, the top. Sometimes easier said than done. Through that hole, and then we're just going to tie it into place. So I'm just going to thread this through the back of the ribbon. I'm just going to tie all of this in place. I'm going to do a double knot. And I'm just going to leave that there, like that. And then I'm just going to use a rhinestone for decoration. So I'm going to use one of these nice big ones. I'm just going to put one there. And there you have your two boxes. You can tell me which you prefer. I hope you enjoyed the project. If you did, I'd be grateful if you could give it a thumbs up so YouTube know. And please don't forget to subscribe to future videos. As I said, all the information about how to make this box is on the blog post, and you will find that in the link below. So thank you again, and until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye.